Do you love all things spooky, a little haunted, and full of mystical intrigue? Would you like expert insights from a professional psychic medium while connecting with an open-hearted community that gets you? Join the Haunted Road Trip Show Patreon at www.hauntedroadtripshow.com/Patreon and unlock deeper dives into the supernatural, exclusive discussions, and a place to share your own eerie experiences. Plus, patrons get special discounts on classes, behind-the-scenes content, and more to die for. Laughter is guaranteed, even the dead laugh. In paranormal history, it's dying to be heard.
Welcome to the Haunted Road Trip Show, where we bring you powerful conversations, insights, and exciting site investigations that reveal the paranormal world in a way you've never seen before. Prepare to have your thirst for curiosity satisfied.
All right. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of Haunted Road Trips Show. And I have somebody here today that I have been dying to introduce you guys to. I have the fabulous Miss Laurie Rivers. And if you don't know her, you're going to fall in love today, okay? I also need you to get out your pen and your papers because there is going to be juicy astrological nuggets a-dropping everywhere. I can assure you of that with this conversation with her. She is not only a fellow spooky woman, but she is a spooky, accurate astrologist and political analyst. And she grows a mean garden too. So you better look out on that. And I am so happy. Welcome, Laurie.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be on here finally.
I know.
I
was like, yay. Well, you have your new studio. I have my new studio.
Woo. Look at
it totally works. It totally works out for everybody all involved. So for the audience, Laurie is an extremely experienced, I would say cream of the crop astrologist. And
can we say astrologer, though?
Huh?
Can we say astrologer? Astrologist is a term that Facebook made up.
Oh my God. You know why I'm saying that? Because right before we got on here, I watched Eli's video.
Oh.
And the astrologist thing got into my head. Thanks, Eli.
Yeah, because he had a dumb commenter.
Yeah, he had a dumb commenter, and I think it just whoop. So for those of you who don't know, Eli is a fellow, he's a fellow astrologist, and he is
astrologer. I blame Mark Zuckerberg for a lot. Okay. Half of the bad information on spirituality is a result of Facebook groups, and you can't label yourself as an astrologer, which we on Facebook. So if you go to pick your profession, the only thing you can pick is astrologist. Never on God's green earth until Facebook were we ever called, astrologists. If you go look back at books from the early 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 1700s, the 1400s, astrologer. It's not your fault. It's Mark Zuckerberg's. This is not a good year for him, so it's okay. Anyway.
That makes me happy. Anyway. Yeah. That makes me very happy. You know what? That makes sense. That makes a whole lot of sense about the astrologer. But yes, Eli is a fellow astrologer who is younger and has to announce every time that when we talk about the 1990s that he was not born yet.
The early 2000s.
Yeah.
I'll be like, well, in 2002, I wasn't born yet.
I wasn't born yet.
Right.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, we have already learned that, and that's a fabulous.
I'm glad you had me on your show.
I am glad. I'm always. I never know what I'm going to learn or who is going to say what. But tell everybody, I always thought it was interesting. Tell everybody about your gateway into studying astrology.
Oh, well, tarot was my gateway when I was 18, because tarot isn't astrology. There's astrological symbolism in it, but they're not related. But anyway, I was in England as a college student, and I would busk in Covent Garden. And meaning I would sing and put my hat out and then have money to eat, because it was expensive to be in London. And on my way to Covent Garden one day from Leicester Square, I turned my head to the left out of no reason, just my attention got called that direction. And there was a road that didn't look like any other road I'd seen before. So everything's kind of gray and white in that area. And here's this brick, like red brick road with like lace curtains, kind of like more like in Europe. Like if you go to Holland or Belgium, there's the little lace curtains and the pots of geraniums and the flower boxes.
Right.
And that was really unusual. And being young and curious, I was like, what's down this road? And so I trip-trop down the road, and I don't know, it wasn't even a half mile, maybe a quarter mile down the road. To my right is this building with a giant sign, and it says Mysteries Bookstore. I'm like, well, what the heck is in there?
What?
Went in, and it was kind of funny. So I turned left, and this was all the dark arts was on the left. And then there was bookshelves bathed in light on the other side. It was very, very cinematic. And I chose Shotgi Gawain's Creative Visualization, the great classic. In fact, in 2018, right before she passed away, I actually got her a Facebook message and said, Ms. Gawain, you changed my life with that book, because it was essential on my healing journey. It gave me really good tools. And she wrote back, which was so nice. But anyway, I got my first tarot reading that day. It blew my mind, and I bought my first tarot deck as well. And so that and there was a bunch of woo-woo stuff, but astrology, life was blowing up. It was 1995. Fast forward, I was 25, or maybe just 26. And I blew through the firewall that was in the country I lived. I lived in Bahrain, and they had a lot of banned subjects, but firewalls weren't very good in the mid-90s. You just had to be really good at asking questions to get around them. And so I started going down this metaphysical rabbit hole, and I landed on an astrology message board. And I was like, well, am I a Cancer or a Leo? Every book is different. This is BS, which we get that argument at us all the time now, which I find funny. I'm like, yes, I made that same argument many years ago. And a man named William Mason, who is from Australia, took pity on me, did my chart, and sent me a very long email with details that freaked me out, because it wasn't bad stuff. Like, he didn't step on any of my trauma. He pointed out where, these ages might have been very difficult for you. And I'm like, if you knew the half of it. But it was some of the good stuff.
Yeah.
The good stuff got me, because it was little teeny tiny details I never told anybody about. Like, can you talk to animals? He was like, I'm really curious. Can you talk to animals? And do you have perfect pitch? Well, there was no way he could look me up. We didn't have a digital footprint in 95.
Yeah.
And then at the bottom of the email, he said, I would love to teach you astrology. If anyone was born to be an astrologer, it's you. And I thought, nice line, buddy. And I emailed him back and I was like, sure, I love to learn. I'll learn it, but I'll debunk it because there's got to be a catch to this. Ever the Scorpio rising. Like,
Right.
What are you trying to get out of this?
What's your angle here?
Yeah. And
I'm going to get you before you get me.
Right. And that's kind of how I fell down the rabbit hole. And astrology started explaining things psychology really couldn't at the time. And we didn't have the neuroscience we have today.
Right.
It was just a gateway to self-actualization, and he insisted that I learn both mundane and natal astrology because they're two different kinds of astrology. And he didn't really teach, nobody teaches mundane. He gave me kind of the basics and then go on and learn it, my child. So, but that's
Go
how
forth
I got
and have
into
fun, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So you had like a Hogwarts experience almost, like, because that's all I keep envisioning with you going and seeing this mystery side street and it looking completely different from the other parts that were around you.
I swear I thought she based Flourish and Blots on that bookstore.
Wow.
Because also I did go to Hogwarts. So my university in England, which is now luxury apartments and condos, sadly, I went to U.S. International University in Bushy in Hertfordshire. And it was used, it's been used in a lot of movies because it's not very far from Pinewood Studios. And so Nuns on the Run was filmed there while I was in university. A lot of BBC and ITV shows. There's been Pink Floyd's The Wall. That's what it was famous for when I was in college, and we would sit on the wall.
Okay,
the wall.
now I know. Okay.
Yeah, and it was used in the second Harry Potter film when they do the pan into the quad. That was the quad I walked through every day at school. And let me tell you, my son was, 6 or 7 when it came out. My daughter was like 9. And we went to see the movie. And I had my son on my lap because he was afraid of parcel tongue and all that stuff. So, and anyway, when it panned through, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my school. Well, in the movie theater. But I was shocked. And my daughter just looked at me and said, I knew you weren't a muggle, Mommy.
Oh, spoken like a double Virgo, huh?
Right? I knew it. And I said, well, Grandma is. So.
You and I both attended to Hogwarts.
Right? Yeah. Mystical
Scorpio risings.
Scorpio risings. Life, and before that, life was mystical, But astrology, I tried to push it away. It was very, because I was born doing things. So.
What do you say to people, Laurie, who are like, I know I'm destined to do something big, or this is my destiny, or I have a purpose, and they're very hooked on that, and they're trying to find reason in their astrology.
Well, sometimes it's really legitimate. I mean, sometimes people do have a sense of purpose, right? And I've had young people come to me, whether they're in college or just out of college, especially going, I know I'm made for more than what I'm doing. And I'm like, well, of course you are, But just because you have something happening up in the 10th house, because I think a lot of people know about that, like you've Jupiter or you've got Saturn or Pluto up there, you're supposed to be a great leader. Leaders develop skills, and leaders don't sit and wait around for things to happen, and you don't wait to be discovered. And, if you have a purpose, you're on that path, whether you know it or not. And you just, it's a lot more of a straight line than we think it is. I know, have you seen the meme where they like success is what people think it is, and it's really a tangled mess? But It is and it's not, because once you get within view of what you thought you were going to do and you look back, that what looked like a tangled mess is actually, from another perspective, pretty much a straight line.
Pretty much.
But you've got to let go of attachment to doing this big thing. I think we do people a disservice by teaching about historical figures, because not one of them did it alone. Not one got there without support. They had charisma. They had good oration skills. If you want to be known as a great speaker, then take a speech class. The universe isn't going to suddenly just, you and the universe have to work in tandem.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I get a lot of those all of those calls of what is my purpose, and I have to do that, and I've missed it. And
yeah, ships do leave port, but they also come back in, and you can feel like you're past it or you've missed it. I mean, I've felt that way in life. Being an astrologer helped because I could see the next cycles. But your purpose is to be a human being. That ultimately, break it down. The universe does not care how you human.
Yes.
Everything else is distractions. In 2020, I was meditating. This is during the lockdowns. I was meditating about Pluto. And we were coming towards that big Pluto-Jupiter-Saturn conjunction that we hadn't had in, 15 years. And so exciting. And I was meditating, and my guides come to me a little bit cheeky, because I'm cheeky. And I literally, in my head, the thought was, all you had to do was live to 2020. And my response back was, that would have been nice to know. And the next response was, you wouldn't have believed it. And so and what did I do in all of that time? So if all I had to do was live to 2020, which was 51 years, well, imagine if I just sat there doing absolutely jack all with my life for 51 years.
Exactly.
So even if you have natural abilities and gifts that are obvious, because I think everybody's got them to some degree.
Yes.
Having them developed, studying all the things I studied, both mundane and mystical, got me more than prepared for all you had to do was live till 2020.
Wow.
I know.
That
right?
is, I mean, that is some interesting advice, because me would have been like, and then what happens?
Right. Well, that was kind of my smart, that would have been nice to know. But I knew at that time, because the astrology was already taking off, and it had been taking off before 2020. Like, I've been a professional since 1998, but I was referral only, so I wasn't marketing my astrological goodies. So things would flow in, there'd be a lull, they'd flow in. But from about 2018 into 2019, it was cascading up. And I was like, I can see the time is coming. And I even wrote a book in 2019.
That's right.
So
what's the name of your book?
Living by Luna. Now, it's not published out in the world. And it's a little more academic, but the introduction is creepy, because I wrote it before the pandemic started.
Oh, and wow.
About, as we are on
we can get
precipice.
That on your Patreon, though, right?
It's put away for right now, because I'm going to redo it and make it less academic, because I was being like most actual professional astrologers, not the people you see in the pop astrology world, or most there's astrologers and there's astrologers. And astrologers are very academic, think Hogwarts, a little dry, and right, academically. And so it's a little dry, so I'm redoing it to make it more digestible.
I absolutely love that. Do you ever... can you see people's abilities? So if you were reading a psychic medium's chart, or somebody who could do Reiki, or somebody who would be really good at the metaphysical arts, but maybe hasn't quite stepped, you can see that.
Yeah. In fact, I do have an ebook on that called Instinct and Intuition and How to Find Your Clairs in Astrology. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you absolutely can. Now, to even go further, I can look at that in somebody's chart and say, oh, you're really intuitive in this kind of way. And I will ask, do you make a living or any money at doing these types of services? So, and a lot of times I get people getting ready to get started doing that, to develop the business side. So, or they've been thinking about it.
I recommend that. I highly recommend everybody take an intuitive development class with, well, I recommend with me personally.
Right. I send people to you all the time.
Yeah, you do send a lot of people. If not with me, with somebody else, because you don't have to be a professional psychic medium to really be in tune and use that intuition and that instinct just in your personal life, in your business, and whatever that you're going to do. Because I really do believe, I tell people all the time that your intuition is your handbook that you think nobody gave you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's your tune.
That is your handbook. That is your compass. That is your center. And once I tell people, sometimes it's like, think of it, if you had like a hidden app on your phone, that sometimes you get glimpses of it and you're like, wait a minute, what's that? Where'd it go? That was cool. And figuring out how your settings work.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I can see in the chart. And whether someone, again, doing it for a business and making extra money, or somebody who's just very, very sensitive and could use some training so they stop freaking themselves out. Either way, you know,
we do.
Yeah.
You know, when I was early in my kind of, I was just in my awakening, and I was just coming to realize, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm really fucking psychic. God damn. And just starting to get to know the community where I lived at. And I was recommended, go see Kramer. Kramer's the astrologist here in Austin. Go see Kramer.
Kramer's awesome.
Kramer's
I used to be on his mailing list.
Are you serious?
Years ago, because his horoscopes are hilarious.
They're hilarious, especially if you know Shakespeare.
Yeah. No, he's funny. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I was on.
Yes, he's got some wild stories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he was funny. I've always enjoyed his work.
He's still around. He's living, he lives down yonder, San Antonio.
Oh, very cool.
And he was the first person that ever read my chart.
Oh, you got lucky. He's a fine astrologer.
Well, I got lucky because of my mentor, Elaine Ireland. She's a picky woman just like me. She would not send me to anybody that she didn't already use or vet.
Yeah.
So she's like, you need to go to Kramer and you need to talk to him. And I went and I got a reader, and I got a reading, and I remember he was like, you eventually end up working from home, doing extremely well for yourself, and you are going to do things that this community has never seen or never done, and you will be very successful at what you do. Cool. And I was like, at that point, I had I had no concept of how that could even come about. But he was right.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, now. And sometimes, sometimes even when you get a reading, or you get that intuition, or you get that message from your loved one in a dream, sometimes even us, we have to take that faith walk and go like, okay, I don't have all the information, but this is a juicy piece. So let's see how it starts to coalesce together.
The spirit
and how it forms. Huh?
The spiritual breadcrumbing.
sometimes I tell, and we're ready, and I tell people all the time, our guides, our angels, our spirit team, however you view that, as think of it as like they're our best friends, but they're our best friends that know a little bit more for us, what's kind of a little bit better for us. They're that older, wiser best friend that's like, don't do that shit.
Yeah. Stop. Don't
stop.
Sometimes they're a little bit like Gene Wilder.
Exactly. Like they're not going to give you, and your soul is probably like, I'm not going to give her any more than what she needs right now, or can kind of manage or have the tools to be able to understand, right in this red hot minute. And I tell people, don't take it personally. It's just, more will be revealed. I promise you.
Yeah.
Because especially like I could have never, envisioned going into podcasting and TV shows and things like that. Like I had always had this inkling about doing things like that in production and creativity and all of that, but I had no idea how that would come about.
Yeah. No, I'm right with you on that.
Yeah, but alas, here we are. And to your point is, you guys, when we look in the rear view mirror, we see how all of our experiences, all of our got us here.
It's like Lego pieces that click.
Like little Lego pieces. And so trust your guide. Have fun with it.
And trust your experience. Trust your experience. It may seem like, why am I learning how to do this thing? And you may need that knowledge in 2 years. And you'd be like, oh, I know how to do that. And you just integrate it all together.
I do. I tell people all the time, from my past life careers, I go, I learned customer service. I learned sales. I learned marketing. I learned scheduling. I learned a bit about accounting. I learned account management. I learned everything that I needed to know to run a business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I tell people all the time, you can be psychic and good as you want. If you don't know how to run a business, it's probably not going to go too well for you.
Yeah. And that's why you can't really, like, people look at the influencers out there making money and what have you, and they get very judgmental. I'm like, no, they took the time to learn how to run a business and do what it needs to do. And we can sit and complain, or even, I was on a live stream, probably on my Patreon. And somebody said, well, those guys get paid for doing this. They don't work very many hours. They should have to do 8 to 5 like us. And I'm like, no, switch that around. Maybe you deserve to work the hours they work and make the money they make.
Yeah.
You don't want to drag people down in. You want to lift people up. I'm like, no, let's not drag it down. But yeah, you have to learn business skills. And you can't... The universe isn't sitting there judging everybody. It's a really, really immature way of looking at the universe of crime and punishment. I'm like, it's so much bigger than the physical reality. Why would it care? And it makes us feel better sometimes when we think about it that way, when we don't like people and we're like, they're gonna get theirs. But honestly, it's a little scary.
Exactly. Maybe, maybe they don't get theirs.
Maybe they
don't know.
No.
How about you give them theirs by going to succeed?
Yeah, exactly. Best revenge is living well. Oscar Wilde.
Yeah, exactly. Revenge is living well while they watch from the sidelines.
Amen. Preach.
Spoken like a true Scorpio rising. Oh my God, I had this horrible ex that I dated for a very, very brief period of time. And he was like, he was like, you'll never be successful. And I was like, you don't have the power to tell me that. And I'll be successful because I already am. And I remember he looked at me like, And so just remember that out there. Nobody has the power to tell you what you will and will not be. You have some forms of self-determination.
Always.
That is going on out there. Now, I did want you to share with the audience a story that you told me about how you fought a poltergeist for free rent and won.
Yeah, so I was 18 and I was in university at that school, which started as the Royal Masonic School for Boys. Okay. And in the Edwardian era. So most of those boys were, and it was a boarding school, but they had a TB outbreak.
Oh.
And many other things. Like one of the buildings on the campus, it was a little brick building. It actually had been the morgue.
Ooh.
Yeah, very English. But anyway,
there's dead bodies over there, darling, the distant comment.
Well, yeah. It was like many there it's Europe, right? And in America too. There'll be like, and there's just gonna be a lot of energy, right? You could hear horses walking on the cobblestones after midnight. And there'd be no horses, and it wasn't just me because, you'd stick your head out the window and you'd look, and in the other dorms on that side of the building, you'd see 3 or 4 other heads poking out, and then you'd look at each other and go, oh, we're not going to talk about this. Okay. Because it was freaking. So anyway, I unfortunately got paired with the worst roommate ever. I did want a roommate, but I went to an international school so I could meet people from all over the world. They thought I'd be homesick and put me with an American who was 4 years older and getting ready to graduate, who treated me the way a senior treats a freshman, like crap. Aww. And she was mean. Excuse me. Anyway, she was mean. Very mean. And I didn't want to be with her, but I couldn't really afford the private room.
Right.
And there weren't any available in what they called G house. Okay, so there were houses, just like in Harry Potter. And anyway, it was in a tower even. So again, like Harry Potter, the staircases didn't move, which was really good. But anyway, rumor had it that there was a room no one could stay in. No one had stayed in it longer than 2 weeks. And that if you could stay in there, you'd get free room, not board, but room. Okay. You'd still have to pay for your food. The cool thing about G House is it had a really old soaker tub in it. And you know me, I love a good soak.
I love a good tub.
Right. And it was really old. So it was like a swimming pool, man. You could fully submerge. But anyway, so I went to the student affairs office and I said, is it true that there's this room nobody has been able to stay in, and if you can do it, you get free room? And they're like, yes. I'm like, really? And they're like, yes, it has a poltergeist. And I'm like, you're educated people. Are you kidding me? And they're like, no, there's a poltergeist in there. And I was like, I'll do it. They're like, no, you can't. We had a young man stay in there and it almost drove him crazy. And I was like, well, he was a wuss. I'll do it. I was desperate. So I move into that room and everybody's like, oh shit, she's going to do it. And I was like, I just made them give me a piece of paper saying I would get that room if I did it, right? First night. Now, I have always worn very thick glasses. And back in 1988, they did not make ultralight lenses yet. Your glasses were glass. Okay, because the minute I could get compressed ultralight lenses, I got them. But it would push my nose down. They were that heavy.
Wow.
Okay, this is important. Because the first night, my glasses went flying across the room while I laid in bed.
Rude.
And yeah. And posters fell off the wall. And I thought, well, maybe I didn't get them on with the tape right. But the glasses came as a last thing because it was bugging. I found reasons not to be afraid of it. But when my glasses flew across the room, the covers went over my head, and I was like, I started to pray because I was a well-churched child.
Right.
So I started praying and rebuking, which just made it angrier. And I'm like, oh crap. And so I'm laying under the covers, and I'm like, you're not going to win. Next night, same thing. In fact, it got to be where I put my glasses under my pillow so they didn't get broken because I didn't have the money to get new glasses. And so my lipsticks, my anything that wasn't nailed down would just be like all over the room. My radio would fritz. Oh, yeah. And this kept going. And the first week I was scared witless and barely slept all night long. But when I tell you I wanted that damn room next to the tub and with no roommate, I kid you not. And this went on, and it got worse and worse and worse. But then I noticed as I started finding remedies, and I slept the night through. So it couldn't get my glasses. I started nailing stuff down, basically, just making anything that could get thrown. I put in little bags. I put under my pillow. My bed was kind of lumpy,
Yeah, no, you stuff tucked.
Yeah. It was like, it's not going to get that. And I would just, at night, I would just put my blanket over my head. And I'd be like, you're not going to win. I'm going to win. And I let it, and I wore it out. Fourth week, it just stopped.
Wow.
And then they tested it because they had somebody else staying there. Once I said it, I said, oh, no, I think I kicked it.
Wow.
That is what a desperate, broke Scorpio rising will do.
I can believe, I believe it. When, that determination kicks in, like.
And I got to stay in the other room in G House and had the big soaker tub that I only had to share with 2 other people. And it was great.
Wow. Did anybody ever do like a formal investigation to find out what that energy, I mean, it basically was like, get out. It didn't want there. It didn't want anybody there.
No, it was, it felt to me like, it was angry. There was a lot of anger, and it was like tantrums. But I think, there were so many prepubescent boys, just pubescent boys that had lived there over time, that it was probably just energy and then the fear around it, because it wasn't like a ghost. I could see ghosts,
I was going to say, it sounds just like
a poltergeist.
Yeah, it was an energy that just knew how to move things, how to make things work.
Yeah, it was just, and there was no real direction to the throwing. Like, nothing ever was thrown at me. It was just moved it was literally one side of the room to the other. It was just, and so that's why I don't think it really had a consciousness. There was no waves of hate. It was just angry. And if you think of how many kids had been there, alone, scared, angry, it was like tantrum energy.
And passed away, died there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do. I like to tell people all the time, I heard it a long time ago, like, don't worry, ghosts typically don't have good aim.
No. Well, and that taught me a lot too, because I realized I was like, again, by 3rd week, it was diminishing because I wasn't as scared. I was like, well, you can't throw my glasses if they're under my pillow. You can't throw my lipstick if it is also under my pillow. You can't, it hadn't been able to hurt me. And I think what happened is people got scared while they were in there, and that empowered it. Like, so the more I fixed not being scared, like, what could it do?
It didn't have any more tricks.
No, that's it. And there were plenty of ghosts on campus, so this was not the same as a ghost. So
No, that poltergeist energy is something like, to me, when I feel poltergeist energy, it's like feeling somebody who is very mentally like unstable.
right. Well, it's probably the result of that. People, the energy we create when we all have breaking points. And if enough people are stressed out at enough times, or the house is really, dysfunctional or something, all that dysfunction is going to stick to the walls. I mean, creepier, my childhood home, which was built in 26.
Wow.
And my parents sold it in 2016 because they already lived somewhere else, and they'd kept it because my brother lived next door, and I would travel and we'd use it to stay in, right? And this was my parents' passion project. It was not in good shape when they bought it. It had nice property with it, but it was all covered in blackberries. Like, people would be like, they were so, no, they worked their asses off to make it nice, Anyway, when they sold it, the developer that bought it let the town volunteer fire department do a practice burn on it. And my brother called me, and I was on my way to LA at the time. So I was already in Northern California driving down to LA. And my brother called me, goes, you got to see the fire, Laurie. You got to stop your car. I'll show you. And I was like, I don't really care. And he goes, no, your room is, the flames are coming at it in totally weird patterns. I'm like, well, I'll take a video. I'll watch it later. Because I honestly did not care. And there were some bad things that happened in that house. And some of those bad things happened to me. And so when he put it onto Facebook. And when I finally stopped to take a break, I went and I looked. And I kid you not, there were full out shapes. And I was like, well, okay, that makes sense.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. My life got better after, so it just did a release. Yeah, burn baby burn. It released it, so
just like that plantation,
right? Just like that plantation, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of residual stuff, and then it goes, and there can be healing.
Yeah, there was a lot released with that as well. That, I mean, yeah. In childhood homes, I'm like, I could take them or leave them. I'm like, I don't really need to revisit all that stuff.
No.
And
so, but it was cool.
Yeah, exactly. I love, there is a divination practice. I don't know what it's called, but it's, people read the fire.
Pyromancy.
Yeah.
Pyromancy. Absolutely. Yeah. You can read it.
And, I don't know the name of it, but I can sit in front of the fire and I can see the dancing of it. I can see I'm good enough now at not ordinary reality. I know what it's trying to communicate to me.
Right. Yeah. And in fact, in the Middle Ages, they called a salamander wasn't the salamander we find by a stream. A salamander was a fire spirit. And so they believed in alchemy that there was a salamander was a mystical beast.
I believe it.
Yeah. And you can tell when you're doing divination in a fire. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you're doing it and you start, anyway, it's always really super cool. Well, I love that branding that you took on an English poltergeist and won for free rent.
I did. I got a whole quarter free rent. Like, being like, you're not going to win. That was my mantra. And it would be under the covers. How else do you protect
Now, were you
yourself?
saying this out loud or like in your mind?
Oh, no, I said it out loud.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So you were rebuking it.
I was. Like I said, I was a well-churched child. But every time I tried to invoke what I'd learned in church, it got madder. And I was like, so obviously people had tried that, because I heard they did try to do an exorcism or something in there and it didn't work. And so
It didn't work.
because it wasn't a demon, it wasn't a spirit, it was a poltergeist. Different stuff. So just, it was a battle of wills.
Wow.
And I win because I wanted free rent.
I get it. I would have battled it too. I'd have been like, hell no, dude.
That roommate was heinous. She was so mean. And I was so...
You should have told that poltergeist to go visit her.
It was very location. That's the other way you knew. It was location specific.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I'd be like, if you really want to show, like, you really want to show off a few things, let me tell you where to go. Let me tell you who to bother.
I
So,
was dissipated, but yeah.
you want to play a game?
Yes, I love games.
Okay. We're going to play a game. It's called Book It or Book It.
Okay.
Yes. So this is a game where we are going to go down the magic rabbit hole of my favorite Instagram account called Cheap Old Houses, and we're going to find some juicy ones, and we are just going to walk through them energetically, and we are going to decide if we are going to book it for the day or book it the hell out of there. How about that?
It's kind of interesting.
Okay, you can see this. Okay, so we are in Tennyville, Georgia. Okay, so I won't read the whole listing to everybody, but it says it was designed by the famed Chocolat architect. This home has, it talks about the roof, all the original things that are in it, and, great for downtown and all that. I still get, when I look at this, and I know it's hard to see because I can't figure out how to make these full screen.
Mm-hmm.
I still get a lot of vibes from this house about, like, really deep family secrets in here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just looking at it from the outside.
Yeah. It's funny, the outside it feels like a very thin veneer.
Yes.
And it's like the minute you kind of go to a window, it's kind of like...
Yep. So there's the front. Oh, she looking rough, y'all. This is like a 2-story wooden.
For that.
They are charging, I don't know. We'll have to leave. I'll figure that out, or we'll look it up. But she's looking rough on the outside a little bit. I mean, she's, woo,
Oh.
Wow. What happened here? We can see the woodworking is original, but nobody has touched this house in years.
I'd be more afraid of falling through a floor in that house than I would be of any of the energy in it.
Exactly. But the energy in here right away says, I don't know, it feels like somebody who was very confused lived in this house. It's got stunning woodwork.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Floor-to-ceiling pillars. But I get this sense that, I don't know, this house maybe was full of, like, active addicts, or there's some kind of story of hidden addiction.
Opium.
Oh, wow.
Opium. Because everybody forgets, like, they talk about, like, oh, Neptune and Pisces was fentanyl. And I'm like, well, guess what Neptune and Pisces was in the 1800s? Laudanum.
Oh.
The opium problems in the 1870s and 80s.
I can believe that.
Mm-hmm.
See, that doorway even looks creepy to me. Like, it's not welcoming. Like, I'm like, it seems like it's overcoming in this house.
Mm-hmm.
Pink room.
The lead in the paint, that alone.
Oh, that probably is right. I wonder if there is lead in that paint there. What? Oh my God.
Is that storage or is it a place to put Harry Potter?
That is Harry Potter's room. That is
right there. Under
the steps, under the people under the stairs room.
Yeah.
That, oh my God, I want to go in there so bad as a Scorpio rising. You have no idea.
Well, I'd go in. I wouldn't spend the night there because it's creepy and it's not sanitary, but I'd go in.
This seems, yeah.
God, the woodwork is amazing though.
The woodwork is absolutely stunning. It absolutely looks like they put doors on the ceilings.
What year was it?
I think that's kind of like, that's why I feel like I'm confused in here because it's weird.
Yeah, they were very eclectic.
Yeah. And I just feel, Laurie.
They don't say what year it was built though. Wow, that's stunning.
I know. This is stunning looking upwards. So it does look like it's and you are right. If you can't tell at the very, very top of it, it looks like that floor is about to fall in on people.
Yeah. I've lived in historic homes. They were charming and rustic. By the way, charming and rustic is code for careful where you step.
Exactly. Yeah, this is a Harry Potter step. This is like, oh my God.
I wonder if it was done in pieces, like maybe they like put money in and then somebody died and then somebody else finished it. Because that's a lot of artisan crafts work that takes a lot of time to do.
Yeah. That's why I think of
prefab woodwork.
Yeah, no, this feels like multi-generational family in here. This feels like home that was owned by the same family for a very long time. Even that mantle is extremely wooden ornate, but I just feel like hidden secrets in this house, the family, and quiet in here.
Shame.
Yeah. I could almost feel like the energy of like hidden birth. Like maybe a female in the family had a child that they needed to keep hidden.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's icky in that wall. Yeah.
Yeah. It is I like this house because it's got a lot of,
I feel like you'd find at least one skeleton remodeling it.
At least a finger or two.
Yeah, something.
You can definitely find a lot of somethings in here. And I think, let's see, I think they might have said what year or how much. You asked how much.
Oh, yeah, 120,000. Man, honestly, it's worth that to even if somebody just gutted it out for the wood.
If somebody just gutted it out for the wood, they could definitely do it. Let's see if anybody has put comments in there because the woodwork is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Let's see if anybody knows.
Yeah, I'm just curious what year it was or years it was worked on. Because a lot of those big old houses, I don't know, it feels... There's some uck.
Yeah.
And it's not just unsanitary. There's some uck.
I would book it there partially for an evening to do a really cool paranormal investigation.
I could see that.
But I'm not like, I'm not like getting comfy and cozy and sitting down for a while.
Mm-mm. Yeah, for me, it would be also, it's just the sanitation. I'm more afraid of that than I am any of the energy in there. But I would be uncomfortable energetically.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do one more house?
Yeah.
I found a goodie. Hold on. All right. We are in Winona, Mississippi.
Great.
$125,000, y'all. And this is it's actually a historic Wisteria hotel.
You gotta switch it over though.
Oh, can you not see this? Oh, share this tab instead.
Yeah.
Oops.
I know. I do that too when I'm recording.
There we go. Here we are.
Wow.
Yeah. So this
it's an
is
old hotel.
Yeah. This is an old hotel, and they don't really say what the year. Let's see. Somebody says in the comments, 1910.
Wired by that, though.
Yeah.
Oh, with the Illinois Central Railroad, so through the
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting.
So I want to go in. I mean, this is kind of like
I'd go into that. That's kind of cool looking.
Yeah, this is really cool. This is like a 3-story brick wooden hotel. Kind of very early. Oh, there it is in its heyday. I like the balcony. They should have kept the balcony.
Right. They probably rotted.
It probably rotted, or maybe it's not taken from the right side.
That could be it.
Wow. Are they going to show us they are.
Oh, rickety stairs.
Rickety old crickety stairs that you can just hear and you can smell the wood.
In the 1910s and 20s, the stairs are so shallow.
Yes.
They're so easy to trip up.
Man, can you imagine having to trip in all that garb?
Oh, God, yeah. I wonder how many people...
Yeah. Oh, wow. I don't even know if I want to go through that door. It scares me a bit. I wonder if that's a kitchen or something, because I feel like I'm getting yelled at by a boss in there. Or, like, yeah. Ooh, that is one lonely room. Wow.
It's pretty.
But that would be really cool for a reading room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hotels have such interesting energy. Oh, that's all they're going to give us.
Well, how rude.
I know. Rude.
Do one more.
I don't have one more.
Oh.
I don't have one more. I thought I was
Again.
Well, you'll just have to come on again.
I will.
You have to, but I mean, the hotel, this is haunted AF, because
it is.
Also seems like there was, I don't know. I feel like at one time women were getting medical services in here.
Could be. I think women were giving more than one kind of service in there.
I think so as well. I just kind of picked up on, especially in that one room, that there were certain medical procedures that might have occurred in that vicinity right there. That I was like, huh.
Yeah. I would stay there. I wouldn't have a problem with that one.
I wouldn't have a problem with that one, actually. I probably, it would depend. I'm always weird. It always, hotels, I have to really get settled in and set like really, really heavy intentions in hotel rooms.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because a lot of people come in. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people coming and going out of them hotels. And also just for my own like clearing of my energy, like.
Mm-hmm.
But one good trick out there that I tell people is you can take a cotton ball and you can put on there any one of your favorite essential oils, whether it's from a roller, a dropper, or whatever you feel like clears your energy, and then put it in the air conditioned vent.
Oh, smart. I like
and
that.
Then your whole room smells like familiar or safe to you.
I kind of, because nothing about me is subtle, right? I'm about as subtle as an elephant in a china shop. But when I go in, I just do a burst, and I'm just like, blah. But I think, I learned it from defeating a poltergeist. So
Yeah.
it was just like, nah. And if it's a ghost, like, people's emotions are more troubling to me, like the imprints of their emotions. I'm not like spirits and ghosts. So
yeah, it is. It's a lot of the emotions. That's why, like, I'll do things like I will go in there with like a big burst of, this is my space for however long I'm here. Like, there's a million other people to go piss off. Go find one of them. I kind of come in like my father's energy a little bit, where I'm like, no, see, I paid for this room.
Right,
okay?
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with you, and I don't really care. But there's 100 other people. Go find one to bug.
Exactly. Yeah, just like, leave me alone.
Yeah, I'm just like, boom. And then I do my thing, and sometimes, because that's the hardest part, is the energy of the people that have been there, that I'm like, ew, what has been, you don't really want to know what's going on in hotel rooms. Did you know that this scary fact is that a lot of people go to mom and pop hotel rooms to end their life? Hotels owned by mom and pops.
Oh, that's bad. Do it in a Marriott, for fuck's sake. Leave those nights inns alone.
Yeah.
Because I like going to the mom and pops when I'm on a road trip, because like the Nights Inn in Blythe, California was owned by the nicest couple. And I would go back and forth between Sedona and Los Angeles. This is back in 2018. And if I called them ahead, because I was a frequent flyer, right, they would have the air conditioning on and my room ready, and they were so nice. So don't do it in a mom and pop hotel. Don't do that to those poor people. It's me. They do it in state parks too.
They do it so they don't leave a mess for people to clean up, and they don't want their loved ones to find them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, so you traumatize hotel workers.
Right. Or state park staff. Yeah, exactly. It really, my ex, when he was a young ranger, was working at a park, and in 2 years, he dealt with 18.
Wow.
It was a very popular destination. And some of them didn't get found right away.
Oops. Ugh.
We had 2 in the 16 years that I lived there, in the spot we were at.
Wow.
And
that is a whole lot, folks.
Yeah.
It is. Well, I'll tell you what, everybody. If you want to continue this conversation, come over, join me on my Patreon. Me and Laurie are going to continue our talk, but it's going to be a little bit more risque. And she's going to be dropping some more astrological nuggets that we don't really talk about too much here on the podcast. So go on over, join us, continue the conversation, check us out. But thank you so much, Laurie, for coming on here. You have such interesting stories, and it's always just a blast to talk to a good astrologer.
Thank you, Tracy.
Yes. All right, come join us, y'all. We'll see you next time.
This episode of the Haunted Road Trip Show is brought to you by Studio One Vasie Pilates. To claim your free gift now, check the show notes.
Remember to visit our website at hauntedroadtripsshow.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. We look forward to seeing you next time. And remember, paranormal history is dying to be heard.